Kieran, Tourism Innovation Specialist at Southern Regional College, and today I'm delighted to be in the graduate restaurant at Southern Regional College, and I'm with my colleague Caroline Chambers, and we're going to talk about Caroline's recent visit to the Hospitality Exchange in Belfast. Caroline, good morning.
Good morning, Kieran.
And tell us about the Hospitality Exchange. How did you get on?
It was a great conference. It was the Northern Ireland Hotel Federation conference, and I suppose the main focus was that tourism is back. Tourism is in recovery, and you think COVID has impacted our industry greatly. Our listeners don't need to know that, don't need to be told that, I suppose, but essentially it's the main highlight was that we are growing, we are recruiting, we are getting bigger, and the economy is where it needs to be now post COVID.
Yeah, and that's great to hear, because the I suppose 2019 figures, the industry was definitely on a rise. There were so many visitors coming into Northern Ireland, and now there's a positivity of returning growth figures.
Absolutely, and the tourist board, Tourism NI, we're very much focusing on. From 2012, our events have been huge.
Sure.
Our time, our place, it has grown and grown. We've had the AMAs, we've had the Giro, and it was escalating, and 2019 was going to be the year, and then obviously it just dipped. But it was great to hear that. I suppose I've always heard about tourism, we're aiming for this £1 billion, and I suppose now we've been told that the tourism is actually worth 2.3 billion to our economy, which is huge, and it's great for me as a lecturer in hospitality and tourism to bring that back into the classroom and explain to the students, this is where you need to be now, this is a growing economy, and you will get a job in it.
So this is the conference is run by the Northern Ireland Hotel Federation.
It is, yes.
And what were they telling you about the hotel scene in Northern Ireland?
Hotel scene is growing dramatically. Occupancy rates are high. There are a lot of new builds coming into Belfast, as I'm sure you've heard as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's just huge. 25% of the money that's coming in is from hotels, which is huge, and it's great to hear if I'm feeding back into my students and into the classroom. So it's hospitality and tourism. Obviously, it's this umbrella title. You could go down many different avenues. So yes, hospitality, hotel, other accommodation providers as well are on the up, and the visitors are coming. Visitors are coming back.
Okay, so positive news from the hotel accommodation side of things.
Yep.
Tell us then, what about the I suppose the restaurant, coffee shop, that type of side of the business? What were you hearing?
It was purely focusing mainly on, I suppose, visitor attractions, tourism providers, and more of the accommodation providers.
Sure.
So there wasn't that much of a focus on the restaurant trade. What was mentioned, I suppose, was opening hours are very much changing based on staffing levels, because we all know that there is a skills shortage out there. Yeah. Recruitment and retention are the two major challenges, and that came across from the conference. Okay. And I suppose it's trying to staff that. So a lot of restaurants and eateries are reducing their opening hours. Yeah. So they may be closing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then focusing on that sort of Thursday to Sunday, extended weekend really, to try and staff it really, because again, retention is an issue, as is the initial recruitment, but that's being looked at now as well. A lot of the organisations are coming together, which is great to see that joined up approach to try and recruit to the industry.
And I guess you and I have been involved in and out of hospitality and tourism for many years. That has been a recurring theme.
Absolutely.
And I am aware that there's an initiative now to try and redress this.
There is. It's again, I keep saying about this joined up approach, but it's the campaign is Make It Here. The Tourist Board and the likes of the HATS, the Hospitality and Tourism Skills Association. They are, actively campaigning on social media to try and make it the place to work. Not just a part-time job, not just a wee job to get you a bit of money until you actually get to your career. That trying to change the perceptions of the industry that it's a career, it's a long-term prospect, and it's not just that short-term. Historically and traditionally, it maybe has been known for possibly low pay and the hours that you work and the seasonality of it. But that's the joy of it. You're in it because you love it and you want to work in it, and there's so many different options out there. So this campaign really is trying to raise awareness, change the perceptions of the industry. There's so many different options. You can work 9 to 5, you can work flexi time, that sort of thing.
That's really important because both my sons are involved in the industry and have been, and now they're in England at the moment, but they're still going to be looking at opportunities. But certainly that flexibility, I think, is really, really key.
Absolutely, yes. And if you talk to any hotelier, they'll say that they had to think about their recruitment and they have to change their retention techniques. Yeah. How do you bring them in, but how do you keep them at the end of the day? Yeah. And training is a big focus at the moment as well. And offering those hours that maybe aren't typically associated. And if you just want to work mornings, if you just want to work evenings or split shift or things like that, there's a lot of flexible working out there. Even back of house as well.
Yeah. So there was reference. So you had the Northern Tourism Alliance, the representatives from there, or Tourism and I.
No, Tourism and I and Tourism Ireland also were there. That joined up approach.
All right. Yeah. Okay. And I know from the headlines, I didn't make the conference, but there was discussion on the 10x economy and the significance of it.
Absolutely, and I suppose for those that don't know that, it's trying to make our economy 10 times better, and whatever way that looks to different sectors, I suppose, and hospitality and tourism. What can we do? And we're making leaps and bounds at the moment with this campaign to try and make it here, as the tagline suggests, to try and bring people in. So I think that very much is going to encourage, if tourism is 5% of our Northern Ireland economy, it makes sense that they're headlining and a huge part of this campaign to try and bring people in and trying to make our economy 10 times better.
Okay, so sustainability, I think, was one of the key themes.
It was, yes. We had a fantastic speaker, Yannick Cabral from EY, and he was fantastic. He was really inspiring to myself and the students that were there as well. Yeah. I suppose talking about sustainability, we've heard about sustainability. It's been here for many, many years. A lot of organisations say they're sustainable, but are they? Yeah. And I think his focus was trying to maybe get some sort of accreditation in to try and for organisations to showcase how they're being sustainable, because us as consumers, whenever we're booking somewhere, we look that up. We're more involved, we're more interested to find out sustainable.
And that's interesting because that's in line. The Tourism and I at the moment have a draft strategy out for the next 10 years, and leaner, greener. Because that's in line with the more discerning visitors, and actually mainstream visitors now are looking for more sustainable evidence of sustainability.
That's it. We're more thoughtful in our booking process. Yeah. We don't just book purely from location or from price. We want it more of an experience. We want to think, what is our lasting effect on staying somewhere or eating somewhere? And I think that's definitely has come through there. He talked about fantastic good practice examples, which again for me, to try and link it all up, I can bring that into the classroom. The students know who's doing what, and that can then bring them down.
And were there any in particular that caught your eye on any of these examples?
Well, Uber was mentioned as a great good practice example. They're doing many things in the sustainability sort of area. The likes of the Swiss travel pass was talked about as well.
Oh, very good.
And again, lots of these things could maybe be brought in to our local area to think, well, how can we be more sustainable, and can we look at these good practice examples and maybe take some sort of,
I'm not overly familiar with the Swiss travel pass, so now you've
encouraged
me to go have a look at that. But that's really interesting because here in Northern Ireland, how can we learn from other destinations? And I guess that's the main idea behind the conference. Okay, yeah. Did the students enjoy the conference?
The students did. They took an awful lot of notes, and I suppose I'll maybe see that coming through in their assignment work or even maybe their exam topics as well. But another few highlights was the likes of the events tourism and the sports tourism and the business tourism. Yeah. That was another thing coming through. The importance of it. We always, Northern Ireland is good with events, it's good with sports tourism, but you think of what's coming up in the future.
Absolutely.
You think of the Euros, you think of the Open Championship in 2025.
And here with the Royal County Down Golf Championships
next year.
Royal County Down next year in 2024.
24, exactly.
On our doorstep.
And again, all of those things can only suggest to ourselves and businesses and students, tourism and hospitality is the place to be, and you can make it your own, as the campaign would suggest, and you can fit somewhere, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's been really, really insightful. Really, really interesting. Sounds like you had a very action-packed, a lot to take on board.
We did, and we were only there for a small section of the second day,
yeah.
talking tourism,
Yeah.
which was really relevant. And I would encourage anybody to go if they can. Dates are out again for next October.
Okay, all right. Well, you heard that here first. So look forward to that. So thanks very much, Caroline. That was really, really interesting, and we look forward to hearing more.
Perfect. Thank you.